It's hard to believe 8 weeks has gone by. That's crazy. When we first started, 8 weeks seemed like such a long way away, and here we are. And I guess I want to start off by congratulating you guys for going through this. And I know it changes things a lot. It changes the way sometimes we think when you take something new and you get involved in this sort of thing. And so congratulations on doing this. So this is module 8 of it. And so then we're all going to miss each other, or maybe not. Maybe there's some other options that we can work with. Today, I just want to touch on a few things. Video access ends in 7 days. So if there are things that you want to watch and rewatch again, I would suggest you do it within the next 7 days, unless you know how to use Loom, and then you could sort of record the recording and put it on your computer and look at it later. But you didn't hear that from me. The next thing is your resource center and the CRM remain open for 30 days. So I would suggest that you download all the stuff that you want, all the content that you want. There's nothing, that's what it's there for. But if you feel that, it's going to be there forever, it may not be. So 30 days is your window. We're also going to download it into one big folder and share it with you. But if you want to get working on it before we have it done, please go ahead. Why don't we start with your thoughts on Module 8? Did everybody? So why don't we start with Linda? You're top left. So are you always top left?
I don't know. Maybe my top left.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
Linda, so a couple of questions. What was your biggest takeaway from this past week, and what was your biggest success from this past week?
Well, so we're referring to Module 8 as far as takeaway goes?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not a negative person, and I don't mean this to sound negative, but okay, so week 8 for me was obviously a recap, but also I felt like it was a big plug for Buffini. I'm just going to say it. Yeah. It's like, if you really want to be great, you need to do this, take this, take this, take this. Eventually you're going to need an assistant. And that I thought was a little bit disappointing, to be perfectly honest with you. Yeah. So, and then what were you wondering what I had achieved from the takeaway, I guess, was I've been working, keep working on that database, and yeah, I have some pruning to do. And it's funny because as far as referrals go, I get the sort of things, they're not referrals, they're questions. It's like, hey, Linda, a friend just sold their house, and but they've been renting it for the last 2 weeks. So can you tell me what it was worth in September 2018? Like, that's the sort of thing people are always asking me for, that kind of thing. So yeah, so I haven't had as many referrals as you'd think in 16 years. So I'm beginning to wonder if maybe it's just me. So anyway, yeah, that's been my week.
Thank you. Sandra, how about you? How are you?
I'm good. Thanks. I think I have to admit I feel very similar to Linda. But if I have to take something away from what I was listening to, is I have considered a coach in the past, but I'm using you as my coach. So I think that really helps. So I think you need someone to be accountable for it. You don't need, but I think it could be helpful if there is someone. And I know a lot of the top agents do have coaches. So I do believe in that. And yeah, I mean, I like the review. I went back through the notes because it wasn't as educational, but the past was. And I made some notes that I want to remember moving forward. And I really enjoyed this course, and I really enjoyed listening to our group here. And I learned something from each and every one of them, from the newbies to the oldies, and it was fantastic.
That's great. Thank you. Is Tobin the oldie?
Yeah,
Nice.
one of the, well, Tobin just, honestly,
Real
he
nice.
just has to speak. I just have to see his face and he makes me smile. And when he starts talking, he just makes me smile. And there's no question why he does as well as he does. It's Tobin.
Mm,
You know what I
oh,
mean?
my.
Like seriously.
Things are good. Things are excellent. Good team.
Arnold, what did you get from what was your biggest takeaway and what was your biggest success this past week?
Well, I guess this chapter kind of remind me the one I took with the Essential, because he pretty much covered the same with the grow, plateau, and grow and plateau. So for me, it was something that I already have experienced before. The only thing he showed that, you have to be now, once you do the Essential, Advanced, you have to be that, pro in a lot of things. And I think coaching is always good to have it, no matter at what stage of career you are, because it gives you a motivation, gives you some new ideas and thoughts, and keeps you going.
That's great. What was your win this week?
My win of this week was I started preparing myself for like going through my database and trying to see through the last year who's my advocates, who become my advocates, who I need to delete because I will not get anything out of them. So, I did 2 years, with and just analyze all my pop buys and the mail out I did and everything, and what kind of interaction I'm getting back. There are some people that I'm getting absolutely nothing. So it seems like I'm not going to get anything in the future either. It seems like even if they're selling or they have someone that it's planning to sell, they're going to go with someone else than me. So I'm trying to get ready with my database, because as I mentioned, the May 2 is coming up. So I want to do some pop buys. So I want to have a fresh database of people, who I need to address.
Maybe it's time to revisit your groups a little bit again and take another look at them.
Yes.
Yeah. Great. Thank you, Arnold. Mary. Where'd Mary go? Is Mary gone? She sure is. All right. Lindsay, tell me about your last week.
Sure. Good morning, everybody. Well, I've survived having 3 children home for the last week, so that is my big win. I'm kidding. This virtual schooling is, we're getting into a groove slowly but surely. Okay, sorry, my win of the last week. I had said I wanted to set up my CRM. As you know, I'm still pretty new, so it's all still floating around between notes and in my head, but I need to get into a system. I haven't done that yet, and I do plan to use, I think, Sphere is where I've netted out with it. But from, honestly, I feel like it's somewhat of a win, but my post-registration courses that I need to complete, I decided, well, the kids are home and it's a little bit of a slower week. Why not do that? So it's very boring. But I've been plugging away at that slowly. So that's my win for the week. In terms of takeaways from this, I agree with what everybody said. It was certainly, I felt like he was setting up his new teams coaching very well. But I also realized I probably should go back and take the Essentials course just to have it. But this has certainly been really helpful. And I think the biggest takeaway from what I heard from him is just expecting the plateaus and knowing that that's a natural part of the evolution of a career path. And, I think the earlier you can acknowledge that and accept it, probably the easier they will be, but recognizing that those are the years you were really sowing seeds for the future. So there's still benefit to those quieter years, I guess.
Great. Thanks, Liz. Claudia. Where's Claudia?
Well, the wins for me this week were I listed a condo and sold a condo within 2 days, which was a great win. I also finished all my renewal courses for the license renewal. This last one was sort of kind of, refresher from the way Arnold also mentioned. And it kind of, for me, I took it as this is a pathway to success. and you can either follow it or figure out where you are. For me, it was sort of discovery where I am, and try to figure out where I want to go and really push myself to get there. For me, I do like Buffini style because it's totally, you know, what I do now. It's pub buys, it's, you know, building the referral business and so forth. However, my issue, what I need to work on is being more consistent, finding my diamonds and cherish them all the way. So
Beautiful, thank you. That's still always for me, and I've heard it, I can't tell you how many times, but the Acres of Diamonds is still the best parable for me to remind you that you don't have to keep looking somewhere else for everything. And you could probably use that in a lot of areas in life, right? It's everything you really want is all around you. I'd just like to welcome our guest, Ian. We're going to be through a few names if you've got a few moments, and then I'd like to introduce Ian Hawkins from Royal LePage Locations North, who's going to join us for a few minutes this morning. Renee, what was your success last week?
About module 8, what I like a lot is the list that he shared with us that we can download, actually, the back office list. I do follow a lot of the things already, but it gives you more ideas, I guess, to implement in what you have already. And also I like the team, together everyone achieves more. I like that phrase that he used.
Great. And did you have a win this week?
Yes and no. Like, we did a buy, we were in multiple offers, 5 offers, we got it. So good negotiation and everything, but after reviewing the status, something was wrong and it didn't go through, but it was good work. So yeah.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Amy, how was your take on week 8, and what was your win this week? Or are you going to have your win right after this meeting?
Yeah, it is a commercial, Linda, but you know what? I've drank the Kool-Aid, so I really like the Buffini system. I mean, I'm in a Buffini group. We meet once a month, and we met this week. And I have a coach, and I love my coach. Like, the first one I had, I wasn't crazy about, but this one's really good. And it's a good system. The stuff I found in 8 was reinforcing. The interesting part, I mean, I need to work on consistency too. But what's the role of the coach when you hit the plateau? And so I'm looking forward to getting there.
That's great.
And the other thing, the reinforcement was that the purpose of the business is to create customers, and more to the point, to create advocates. So just keeping that in the forefront all the time.
That's great. Thank you. Who's next? Darlene. How's Darlene?
Good morning, everyone. Good. Module 8. Well, I kind of agree with Linda on that one. But I'm a Buffini lover. I do enjoy listening to him. So it certainly wasn't a waste of time or anything like that. I like taking the course because it gives you almost an energy boost, and it focuses you, but it gives you, okay, I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. And it's, sometimes you can get into a rut where you just kind of coast along, but I find every time I take a course, I get a little burst. So that's fantastic for me, because you can get very comfortable in that. So you need a little kick in the butt. And I find the course gives me that. This week, well, I had my vaccination on Tuesday, and I was ill all week. It was horrible. Just so everybody knows, it was awful. But today I feel much better. But I did get 2 clients that new clients that I've been taking out and showing properties to. So hopefully, just keep pushing along. But so that was my win, was getting 2 more.
Great.
So,
Thanks, Mary. Mary's
Okay.
back in.
Yes. Here we go. My internet's
Mary.
a little flickery, so cut me out. I'm thinking of, well, I need to figure out what I'm going to do about coaching for sure. I would like to have some kind of coaching. I don't know whether it's Buffini or there's other stuff out there. I just missed some other people's thoughts, but I'm not sure where to go from here.
Okay. Maybe we can help you offline with some ideas of where you can go from here.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. What was your win this week?
I went into the referral maker and I did some stuff with my budget planning. It was interesting to see how things get separated and taxes and expenses. I was glad that I got that done.
Good. Thank you. I'm glad you were able to log back in, by the way.
Yeah, I had to reset it.
Natasha, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're good. Tell us about week 8 and what your win was this week.
So for me, week 8, I kind of took away the fact that, coaching is important. So I'm going to have to look into that on a consistent basis. And I also, kind of what Lindsay was saying, with the plateaus and how to anticipate that and when I do get there to kind of be consistent and how to grow from there. So I also look forward to getting to the plateau. My win for the week, I actually got a referral from one of my advocates, and it was a professional advocate, so I'm pretty happy about that.
That's awesome. Wonderful. Thank you. And last but not least, where's Tobin?
Top of the morning to you. How's everyone?
Good.
Fantastic. Okay, so 3 things maybe. Constant Communications was a company I used for all my newsletters. And I sent out the monthly newsletters. It was a corporate branding scenario, and I loved it. One of the comments I made much earlier on in earlier meetings was one of the routines I liked was creating a mailing list that included people's work address, if they were good with it, because then your marketing material ended up at their office, and there was a lot more opportunity for referral if there's some sort of a newsletter on their office and they're talking to people. Now, of course, that's a little bit different now with the COVID and the offices are empty, but the scenario still is that I believe that tangible paper and flyers have a great deal of impact because they actually sit on people's counters for a little while. So with watching Buffini and recognizing that, there are plateaus, which I really liked the affirmation that the plateaus happen, and that's when you got to double down and really work hard and reset for that next jump. And one of those things is going to be is I am going to revise what companies I use on the marketing material. So those are a couple things. Now, if I could just one time, because I've got a group here, if I could comment, on MREB has, I know this is off topic, MREB has a course next Wednesday. Now, the reason I mention it is because I always felt the most important aspect of protecting our license was not being sued. No litigation, no phone calls to RICO. I just commenting that MREB next Wednesday has a course on not getting sued. I think it's a really important opportunity for everyone to listen in on what other people do and make mistakes at. So sorry, Alex, to digress. And I think the Buffini thing's been awesome. I think it's been an excellent opportunity, and I've ordered some of the books that he was showing off. So I'm going to start reading some of those. And I don't know what the next step is going to, but I really like the 100 Days to Greatness. I hate to say it, but there's a chance I might start over and see if I can just jump from the next level. The marketing, the 100 Days to Greatness. I think I'm going to try that and then read some of those books. So I think it's been awesome.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. And by the way, thanks for the company disclaimer to not get sued. That was really good. I appreciate that.
You're the one who gets the phone calls, right?
So I'd like to introduce you to Ian Hawkins. Ian is with Royal LePage Locations North in Collingwood and services the Southern Georgian Bay Marketplace. And so Ian is a long-term Buffini fan and Buffini student. And Ian, I invited Ian to join us because he's been immensely successful sticking to the program. And Ian, could you tell us your story, please? Welcome.
Thanks. Good morning, everybody. Hey, Mimi, how you doing? Thanks for letting me do this. This is a treat. I was flipping through my pathway to mastery notes last night and this morning, and for some reason, when I got to module 7, my notes taking stopped. So I was thinking I probably should have been participating in your past 2 weeks, Alex, because those are probably the 2 modules. 7 and 8 are probably the two most important ones I should have been taking. Long term, I've been in real estate for 33 years. This is my 33rd year. And I started Buffini about 10 years ago. And can I, show of hands, how many, you can just indicate in your fingers, how much experience, how many years of experience you guys have with Buffini, just so I know where we're at here. So I know what I should talk about and what I shouldn't talk about.
I think we've got a mixed crowd, honestly. So
okay,
just feel free to tell us.
10 years ago, I always worked at Royal LePage except for 2 years. So 31 years, the same company. And I was reasonably successful. I was always probably President's Gold and Platinum over the years, but I found I was in a plateau. And no matter how hard I worked, I could never seem to get above that. And went to a Buffini event in Markham, actually, about 2010 or 2011, and decided I would become more involved. Started group coaching at the very beginning and found out that that wasn't something that was going to work for me. So I started one-to-one and have been with the same coach ever since. Coaching supports me in so many different ways. And I'll come back, maybe talk about that a little bit later. But I found that my biggest problem, and if any of you have done your heritage profile, you know what it means when I'm saying I'm a free spirit. And I would chase things and perhaps forget about the basics and forget about the common factors of Buffini that we know it works. The calls, notes, and Popeyes are certainly the major aspect of that, but I kept trying to grow my database as opposed to really focusing on the core essentials, core clients that support my business. So that's been my biggest challenge in terms of getting beyond some of the plateaus I've reached. And believe me, I've hit a lot of plateaus, and I've gone backwards many times and found out that I've gone backwards used to be a negative, but I realize now that's where I'm really learning what I have to do to go to the next level of production. And it's the system, and it's, we can make this business as difficult as we possibly can, or we can really make it simple. And I find the Buffini system is a way to make it that it works. It gives me the confidence of knowing that if I do the basics, and I don't do them all, I'm not here to think that I'm a stalwart Buffiniite to the core, but I know what works for me. And you may come down to the point of, and I'm sure you guys have all discovered, there's things you like doing, the things you don't like doing. I'm a note writer, and I write a lot of notes. I do some Popeyes. I don't do enough of them. It's not so much that I don't like doing them. I just don't. Not sure why. I think it's a comfort level for me as much as anything. And but for those who the system works and do Popeyes, doing notes and doing calls, it's a great way to support my business. It's been a challenging year. I don't think anybody would dispute that. And I'm the first one to admit that the system, the Buffini system, Brian, and everybody that supports his organization have probably one of the reasons why a lot of us have probably had the best year we could ever have. Because, obviously the market is what the market is. Some people have struggled, I've struggled, but I've also had one of the best years, probably the best year I've ever had. But it wasn't so much that it was the market, but it was putting all the essentials in place that kept supporting me, what I was doing for the past 12 months. Coaching is a major aspect of that. The coach that I have is constantly reminding me what my strengths are. And sometimes I like to think that my strengths are my weaknesses, and I've really worked hard to overcome those parts of my life that I don't think are that important. But coming back to it, it's the basics, and coaching is probably the greatest strength of my business right now to take me to the next level. Being very transparent, I probably couldn't have done this call a month ago. Probably late March, early April, probably the 4 weeks of the past 20 years that I'd like to live all over again. But my coach knew what was going on, and I had notes come from all across North America from his clients, other people he coaches, that gave me the kick in the pants to really pick myself up and keep going. And that to me was something that was worth the whatever we pay for a year of coaching, just to be able to get to this level, this point of being able to say, okay, well, I made it to that stretch, so what's next? And as I said before, it's a confidence issue. And knowing the system works, and it works well. So Alex, I'm not really sure how much time you want me to go into this. I can certainly sit here and talk all day. If somebody if you want to have some questions, I'd be glad to try to answer them. But it's totally up to you.
There was a question in the chat. Do you use a Buffini coach?
I do.
Yes.
I
okay.
do. Sorry, I wasn't even looking at the chat.
That's okay. So can you give us an idea? Because, I've been a Buffini mentor since it first came to Canada. And I remember sitting there with a bunch of brokers in the Admiral Hotel in Toronto and taking this mentor training in person. And there was a lot of the crossed arms in the room and wondering, does this work? And, it doesn't sound, it's good to get you to about here, but is it a high level thing? And I had some experience with Brian Buffini through Joe Stump. And Joe Stump ran a thing called the Main Event that I attended 2 or 3 times as a salesperson. And his all-star agent at the time, who worked 100% by referral, was Brian Buffini. And Brian was selling with a team in San Diego. And I remember clearly thinking about that and thinking, no, this is high level stuff. And so can you give us a sense of where your business is at, what level you're at, where you're sort of how your growth patterns have been for, if you want to talk awards levels.
Okay, sure. Award levels have never really been my thing in terms of really promoting it. Yeah, sure, it's on my business card, it's on my email signature. As I said earlier, I've always been in the prior to Buffini, President's Gold, Platinum, I think existed 10 years ago. And then probably 5 years into my coaching, I found out I could hit to Diamond, hit the Diamond level. And I thought, okay, well, that wasn't so bad. And last year, I exceeded Red Diamond by a heck of a lot. Probably not that far away from what do you call it? What's the top level called, Alex? I forget it. Sorry?
Chairman's is right. Yeah.
Yeah, Chairman's Club. Sorry. Gapped it totally. I work with 4 other people, and sure, if we combined, we would have been there. But my goal is to try to support my team to make sure they do as much as they possibly can on their own. And I'll support them every way I can. That I'm not really concerned about helping me get to a different award level, but helping them get to whatever award level they want to be at. So first time ever I hit 7 figures in gross commission last year. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that Collingwood is certainly a place that people want to move to. And I've been fortunate and blessed to be able to work with a lot of them. And I've had a lot of fun. I turned 65 last week. And people keep asking me how much longer I'm going to keep doing this. And I'm going to say, I'm going to keep doing this. I stop having fun. And I'm having a riot. It's fun making money. There's no doubt about it, but it's fun. It's even more fun seeing the people, meeting the people that I've been able to meet in the past 30 years and have some of their children and actually one grandchild come back and start talking to me about buying a place.
Fantastic.
So anyway, I don't know if that answered your question. That answered your question, Alex?
It sure does. And there was another question in the chat. So you did say 7 figures personally, right?
Yes, I did.
That's impressive, the Buffini way. And I thought you said that when we were on the phone last time, and I thought, I wonder if I had a bad connection. That's amazing, Ian. And you know, it's and you're talking about one guy doing it and working by the world.
I have got a lot of support around me. Like it's yes, I never really this time last year, I thought I may be pumping gas before the year's over. Not really sure what was going to happen with COVID.
We all did.
And, you know, halfway through the year, I thought I was at a level I was approaching a level I'd never approached before. And I thought, well, hey, I keep going. Let's see what I can really do. And I never really anticipated, I probably never even wrote it down as a goal to hit 7 figures. But in working the system, and there were a lot of long days, don't get me wrong, and there were a lot of frustrating days and a lot of deals that didn't go. But I've been fortunate that I've been a strong listing agent over the years. We were able to get a lot of listings. We were able to keep the listings flowing. It didn't last very long, but we were fortunate that way, and that's probably supported my business as much as anything did. Just having the listings last year, as we are this year.
That's fantastic.
So Buffini, what 3 things do I do that take me to the next level? Coaching obviously helps. I know Meany is not the call anymore, but we go to a lot of the Buffini events, which we haven't been to in a while. And that certainly supports me. I think going back, it was something I said earlier, really focusing on my existing clients and not trying to find so many new ones. I'm fortunate that the people I work with, I can send the leads to them. If it's somebody I don't know, if it's somebody that isn't a referral, they'll get the new leads. I really allow me to focus on the people that have been referred to me, people that I know. That's probably 2. Third thing, try and look after myself. You know, really focusing on my health and my nutrition. Something I've never really done before. I work out, or well, I should be, with a trainer 3 times a week. I did all through last year, and that certainly helped keep me focused. But I think, you know, the three items, 3 aspects of the support around me, the coaching and looking after myself has probably helped me get to the level that I was at last year. And who knows, I'll hopefully get there again this year.
That's fantastic, Ian. Ian is, can you give us a little bit of a commercial of your market area and sort of what your specialty is in Southern Georgian Bay?
Sure. Born and raised on a farm just outside of Collingwood. I was a farmer before I got into real estate. Decided at some point I didn't want to spend the rest of my life on a farm raising my kids there. So decided what's the easiest thing to do, and it was real estate, I thought. Got into real estate, had a couple of really good years at the beginning, and then that was 1988. If any of you were around in 1990, 91, you know that it wasn't the easiest time to be doing anything real estate wise. But I started really focusing on, I was fortunate to get some great leads, great support when I started. I actually had an office in Blue Mountain Resorts for a while, and that helped me get to know what the recreational market was all about. I was able to sell some condos, got to know that market. We have a lot of waterfront buyers through here and really got to know some of the waterfront areas and what's important. So I try to cover it all. I do some commercial work. I do some subdivision work. We list a lot of houses, but I find that covering different market segments keeps me fresh and keeps me excited about the business, as opposed to doing the same thing day after day, because as I said earlier, I am a free spirit.
Thank you.
We cover Southern Georgian Bay. We go as far as Owen Sound now. We're actually going up in the Bruce Peninsula. Actually sold a place in Sauble Beach last week, of all places.
Wow.
And I'm actually listing something down close to you next week, Alex, in Mona Township.
Oh, cool. What is it?
Anyone want to buy a 4-acre lot with a view of Toronto?
Sure.
Sure you don't want to refer that, Ian?
Where is it? Mulmer?
Mono.
Oh, Mono.
It's just on the edge of Hockley Valley.
Yeah, send me the detail.
Linda, I'd love to, but as a friend of mine, I have to help him.
I was just kidding.
I know.
Sort of.
Sort of, yeah.
Let's try though. Thanks. I'll remember that for the next one.
The last question, Ian, that I can see in the chat anyway, is what advice would you give new agents who are taking Buffini for the first or second time forward? What do you
New agents taking Buffini for the first or second, be patient. The system works. I've heard Brian say many times, he'd have, after a long day, he would be ready to leave the office and go home, and there was still a stack of cards sitting by his desk. And sitting and writing the last few cards or writing the last few notes to send them out, it makes a difference. I find that if I'm feeling down, if I'm feeling like disconnected from the business, if I sit and write a few notes, make some calls, connections with some of my A+ clients, it makes a huge difference. And just trust the system.
Yeah.
And it's, for your start, if you are 2 years into it, you're probably over the worst part of it, the longest part. But 2 to 3, 5 years, it really starts making a difference in your business. At least it did for me anyway.
Yeah, and Ian, I've heard that over and over and over again, particularly for the Buffini program, that people try it for a while, and then they sort of think, well, maybe I'll try something else. And the stick-to-itiveness makes a huge difference.
Hey, Tobin, what did you put in my YouTube? What is that?
That's actually your site. So I was checking, I thought I would friend some of your Facebooks and LinkedIn's and so on. And then your YouTube site came up, and it's I think you made this really fancy, nice intro video of you selling condos. And then it's like some zoom ins over Collingwood and so on. It's very nice.
Oh, good. I should look at it sometime. Oh, seriously. Okay, I will. We've got a great videographer. We've got a great photographer, a great videographer. So if it's there, I haven't looked at it for a while, but thank you. I'll take another look at it.
Carolina, could you please copy that URL? We're going to share that with everybody too. Yep, and we also, this is, I think, the only session that we actually recorded. Because I know we're dealing with a lot of things today and some great advice from Ian, and so this will be distributed to you too. I'm getting a special request that if everyone could turn their cameras on for a second, Carolina would like to do a screen capture of everybody sort of waving or doing a hands up, big thumb, something like that. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, so if everybody is ready, I'm going to actually do it for our Instagram story. So it's going to be live. We'll do a wave on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's great. So Ian, thank you. I know you've actually, you said something yesterday in an email that I thought, well, that's a great idea. Where are you driving around today?
I've got one of those days where I've got some closings happening. I'm just making sure that everybody who's moving out of their house is supposed to be moving out of their house. I had a call yesterday from somebody wondering if they could extend their closing for 2 weeks because the place they want to move to isn't ready. And I just said, it's not possible, guys. Yeah. So I was just making sure the moving van was in the driveway this morning.
That's awesome. Ian, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thanks very much, Alex. Great to see everybody. Good luck. Have fun.
Thank you, Ian.
Stay safe. You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye now. So I was driving down Financial Drive and I'm talking to Ian and we were talking about something else. And he says, I got to tell you, I was telling him about the Buffini Group because I always associate him with Buffini. And he says, yeah, he says, this is the first year I've broken 7 figures. And I'm thinking, all of you? No, he says, just me. And I thought, wow. And now, so, you know, Collingwood's a hot market, but it's not pricier than any of our markets, that's for sure. So things have really culminated for him. So I hope you enjoyed that. He's just a down-to-earth, real guy. And he'd be open to hearing from you if you wanted to ask him any questions or that sort of thing. So I hope you got something out of that. We're coming to a wrap up here. And so I guess my first question is what happens next? So we can just roll up our Zoom carpet and disband, or which what we've done in other times is we've decided to continue meeting. And so perhaps once a month, and maybe some content, you can creatively think of what you want to do. But a good one is to plan the pop buys and any things that you do for the month ahead and maybe brainstorm together. Is that something that you'd like to do or be a part of?
Yes.
Great.
Okay, so I'm going to make a note of that. And who can, who would like to volunteer to help organize this? Thanks, Linda. Easy.
I have to say, I've been bothered now since the beginning of the call because I feel like I came on and did this big poo-poo about Buffini. And I hope that was not my intention. I absolutely love Buffini and I've done so many Buffini things, and don't get me wrong. Like, and I know part of that is they have a business that they're promoting. And I do agree that there's nothing better to help succeed than Buffini. So I just had to get that out there.
I didn't think you were doing a poo-poo at all. I think it was just, we all love Buffini and we enjoyed every course, but you know, every business has to promote themselves. So I think he was doing what he should do.
Yeah, and
Yes,
if you were,
exactly.
if you were poo-pooing it, the Zoom gods would have muted you anyway. So.
Okay.
You're too sweet to poo-poo anyone or anything.
Oh, you're too kind.
That's funny. So I think that's a great idea. I wanted to leave you with thoughts. And clearly, you know, hearing from you guys and, you know, hearing from Ian and hearing feedback from Duncan and Oliver throughout it, this program always changes your thinking. And I don't know what it is about it, but it just kind of turns how you think on its ear a little bit. And for some people, it confuses them because it's not kind of what you thought you were going to think when you started it. And you're thinking, okay, so it doesn't feel salesy. It feels more community. And the way I would describe it is, and I just want to challenge you with a couple of thoughts. I'd like you to think finite versus infinite. So 2 words that are so similar, but finite to me is transactional. So it's doing deals, it's converting leads. That's a very finite view. Whereas infinite is more relational and more experiential. And so they're 2 different things. And what I find over doing this many, many times is that people change how they think of it after this and think more infinite versus finite. And so I would challenge you to think like that more often, because I think it will bring you huge rewards. And Tobin, I'll be 1 minute. Please hang out if you can. So I think I'd love to see you find your way to show people how much you care. I think that if, you know, we're all trained not to show, you know, our soft side, not to show those parts, but if you show people how much you care, find your way to do that. Find your way to make your experience that you give, make it amazing. You know, like the way, you know, you've all been it. You've had that feeling where you've done it and you know it's gone that way. Find your way to make people feel like, wow, I need more of that. I need more of Sandra. I need more of Arnold. I need more of Claudia. Make them feel that way and don't be afraid of doing that. And this is the difference between finite and infinite, in my opinion. And then when they feel like, yeah, I need more of that, then they're gonna be your advocates. And I think that, I'm hoping that ties it all together for you in some way, and just change your thinking just a little. And I hope you've enjoyed the program. Thank you.
We did. Thank you.
Guys, we're going to share the video with you.
Awesome.
Also, Ian's link, and please, all the stuff that you want to get out of the program, get out of it before it shuts down on us. And so I wish you guys all the best, and we'll plan on 1 month from now getting together again.
Awesome.
Okay, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye
Thank
now.
you.
Everybody.
Thank you.
Awesome.